Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we got the brand new champions released for January 2022. And one of the things about this game that I love the most is the fact that it has a vast catalog of champions. We have so many in the game, but one of the problems with the game is the fact that we're having a harder and harder time, more and more champions they release, getting the champions we both want and need. And I have to wonder, when I'm looking at brand new champions, do they fit a need, a niche, some kind of role in the game that's missing? And are they useful? Also, under the criteria for which I would like to judge them, would I be excited if I pulled them? Would I be excited as a new character, a brand new account? Would I be excited as an in-game player? Would I be excited as a mid-game player? Is it a progression character? Is it an arena champion? So all these different things float through my mind as I see all these brand new champions. And I can't help but wonder if we're going to get a revamp to the system at some point to help us get the champions we want and need. Like Rotos. I would love a Rotos, but how do I get to Rotos? How do I get a Rotos +5? Those are questions we need answers to. Let's go over the champions. I'll loosely go over what their kits are, not verbatim, word for word, but we'll go over them loosely. We'll see what they do. We'll kind of go over like where they might fit into the game, and then we'll see if I would be excited about getting this character or not. So first up is Deneg Skullreap. He's a legendary magic orc attack champion. His A1 has decreased defense, which I love. His A2, Bane of Elves. And I also want to speak on the fact that we have these racial differences in the, or I guess the faction type differences in the different abilities. Like this one has extra stuff going on with High Elves and Dark Elves. I love this type of stuff in the game. I don't want it to be like a factor as a part of the initial ability, but I love seeing it as something additional on top of whatever's already there, So like we have the A2, attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance, 100% chance when booked, of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns and a true fear debuff for 1 turn. Champions from the High Elf and Dark Elf factions cannot resist these debuffs. That little extra addition, I like it. It's cool. It's not hurting the kit in any kind of way, and it actually enhances it in some way, which is how I like to see these things kind of placed. So the A3 attacks one enemy, it will ignore shields, decreases the cooldown of battle flow, which is this skill, by 2 turns, fills the champion's turn meter by 30%, and places a 30% increased damage on this increased crit damage, buff on this champion for 2 turns if this attack kills an enemy. Then we have the passive, Healthy Grudge. Heals his champion by 50% of their max HP every time this champion kills an enemy. Also grants an extra turn every time this champion kills an enemy from the High Elf or Dark Elf factions. Love the extra turn part. Again, those extra conditional things based off the factions. I'm a fan of it. I'm, not really a huge fan of this particular character overall. I think he'll probably be very good for faction wars. He might have a little bit of a role in an arena, especially against somebody like High Elves and Dark Elves. You got your Arbiters out there, stuff like that. You got Lydia. They're pretty common in the arena. I would like to see some areas of the game maybe where we have like an actual faction war, where we actually go to war with a specific like faction, where we fight all High Elves, Dark Elves. That'd be kind of cool. So this champion, he's kind of mid for me. You know what I'm saying? He's not really, S tier. He's not really bottom tier. If I got him, I'd kind of be happy. I mean, looking at the characters' graphics, the avatars, you already know they're going to be fire looking at them. You know what I'm saying? Raid Shadow Legends does an amazing job building characters. They look amazing. So, looks like he'll be awesome. Could be cool for the arena. Probably more for like the Faction Wars type deal. And for legendaries, just to build them up for the Faction Wars, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of it. Next, we got Jingwan. Now, Jingwan is a Void legendary. He's also from the Shadowkin faction, which doesn't have a fully fleshed out champion kit, in my opinion. Like the whole faction itself is not fully fleshed out yet. So we can definitely use some Shadowkin faction members. And we'd also love Void legendaries. Although they are harder to get, you kind of want them to be really special. You know what I'm saying? Like we're going to hold them to a higher standard. So he's an HP type champion. I'm going to tell you right off the start, like I do not even like this champion. I'm not a big fan of him. He could be kind of decent, but I mean, for someone in the Shadowkin faction, like where we need like a reviver, we need a healer, we need some different kinds of things like that. And especially with, we got the red boss on Faction Wars stage 21. It's going to be rough. You know what I'm saying? We could use a really dope champion. Now, I was kind of hoping that a Shadowkin champion would come along, just a regular legendary, someone more accessible to people, that was actually more beneficial to the actual faction itself. this guy is not really it for me. To get somebody who's a void is hard to do. So to make him like essential to the faction would probably be too much to ask. To make him like an amazing damage dealer or something is probably not too much to ask. So let's go over what his kit does. The first A1 attacks one enemy, transfers a random debuff in this champion to the target. We got other characters in the game that do this better. Now we have to analyze the entire kit overall. Like I guess you have to put a score to the A1, the A2, the A3, the passive, and at the end of the score, you know, add the accumulative score together to see if this is like a total overall, give him an overall score, see if this champion is worthy of void status, you know, where someone like Hegemon, you got Chris, you got Lydia, or not Lydia, you have Siphi, you got these characters, Arbiter even, that are just amazing in all different areas of the game. You get one, you're just super excited, you're super pumped, super happy to pull him. And now you have this guy. Is he diluting the pool? Is he watering it down? I kind of feel like he is a little bit. The A2 attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of increasing the duration of 2 random debuffs on the target by 1 turn. Also places a block active skills debuff for 1 turn if the target is under a decreased accuracy or decreased damage, crit damage debuff, which he applies also on the A3. So the A3's attacks all enemies 2 times. That could be a hard hitter. He is HP type too, so who knows what the damage multipliers are looking like on that one. But the first hit has a 100% chance of placing the decreased accuracy when booked, 80% unbooked. Second hit has a 80% chance of placing a 30% decreased crit damage debuff for 2 turns. Also places a 25% strengthen buff in this champion for 2 turns. So kind of tanky. Immune to fear, basically immune to CCs, and whenever a ally receives a CC, replaces it with a block debuffs, but that's on a 4-turn cooldown. It only does 1 ally. Like if this was doing all allies, much better. Or on a low cooldown, much better. But where it's at, on like 4-turn cooldown, I don't really like it. I don't think it's special. I don't think it's really doing much of anything. It's like going to help you with 1 person, do maybe 1 arena battle, and that's about it. So this guy's looking very underwhelming, and I'm going to say that like I'm hoping they kind of buff these characters up, to be honest. Danag Skull Reap, looking okay, kind of mid. Jingwan, man, mid to low for me. I'm just for a void, you know. Now we have the actual Fragment Summon Champion, Operatin Clanfather. This guy right here has been pretty polarizing within the community so far, and I'm going to say that, you know, where do I lie on the polarization meter here? Am I, you know, not polarized? Am I massively polarized? Am I somewhere in the middle? I'm kind of, yeah, I mean, I'm in the middle, you know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like, you know, you got to analyze this guy on all levels. Is he amazing for a brand new character or a brand new account? Is he amazing for a mid-game account? Is he amazing for an in-game account? Where's this guy's role and what's he going to do? So as we look, he's a barbarian, legendary magic, HP type barbarian. Now, if this guy has been Skinwalker, as many people have already, you know, logically concluded, he'd be amazing. And I think I'd actually love this dude if he's a Skinwalker. If he's Skinwalker, changing my opinion, probably really high tier, because that faction just needs help. You know what I'm saying? It needs more people. Now, if you think about this logically speaking, you get Syl to Drakes after 180 days, maybe 150. So logically speaking, for a progression account, for a brand new account, at some point, you're going to get a barbarian that's going to heal you and revive you. So for faction wars, if you're trying to like do bare minimum to get you through this game, because it's going to, you know, the skill books, everything is very costly, whether it's time or money. So you're not going to be able to get very many characters up to 60, max booked and all that stuff as you play this game, especially early in the game. So as you get a Syl to Drakes, and you got now Operatin Clanfather, so say for some reason you got lucky enough to get him, you did the fragment, fusion, you did whatever, you got him. Now you're going to have to decide which one do I want to level to get me through faction wars. And if you kind of put them up against each other, maybe for a whale account, you're not really worried about it. But for a new account, even whale should be worried about it, because this game has, you know, it's very high. It's a very high cost for upgrading characters to full. And with the amount of characters in the game, upgrading them all to full is a very, very costly, whether again, time or money, venture. I kind of think like he'll be cool for some in-game accounts that want to like try different things, because his kit kind of seems kind of cool. Like you could do some fun stuff with it, but it also feels very niche. It also feels like it might be from the wrong faction. You know, if they had stuck this guy in Skinwalkers again, I'm going immediately, yes, I want him. I'm going to build him up. I'm going to get him. I'm excited. You stick him in Barbarians, I'm going, man, like you got Syl to Drakes, you got Sky Touch Shaman, you already got some decent healers in the faction to get you through the faction wars. Now, where does he kind of work out? Maybe the arena. He's got the turn meter. but I'm going to have some fun trying them out. I'll tell you that right now. I will build this guy. I'm going to be doing it for the contents. All right, let's go over the actual ability. Paired hammers. This is exactly what Baroth the Blood-Soaked has in his A1, just reworded in a different way. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 5% and a 50% chance of filling this champion's turn meter by 5%. So basically 10 each way. Rally the Tribe. Attacks all enemies. Heals all allies by 10% of this champion's max HP. Heals all allies under continuous heal buffs by 15% instead. And A3 Clan Mentor removes all block buffs and heal reduction debuffs from all allies, then places 2 15% continuous heal buffs on all allies for 2 turns. Also has a 75% chance, 100% chance when booked, of removing 1 random debuff from all allies. It's kind of like a cleanse, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to basically make sure that the block buffs, the heal reduction, like, you're going to get the heals. You know what I'm saying? It's going to make sure you get the heals. As far as the random debuff gets removed, like, you know, if you're stacked up with 5, 6 debuffs, 1 random buff ain't really going to help you. But if you got 6 debuffs and 2 of them are block buffs and heal reduction, you got 4 poisons on you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get the heals. Then you're going to remove 1 more. 3 poisons plus the heal. I mean, you know, the continuous heals, I think, like, because you get 2, that they're not doing the full cleanse. You know what I'm saying? If they had give you 1 continuous heal, you're probably getting the full cleanse right there. So that's probably the trade-off. And I guess I'm saying, you know, I'm not really mad about it because of the passive, Paternal. Each time a continuous heal buff heals an ally, fills that ally's turn meter by 5%. If there are multiple champions in a team with this skill, only 1 will activate. So basically, you want more continuous heals. Like, if they could throw 3 on there and maybe even take off the 1 random debuff, like, why not? It seems like it'd be kind of cool. So it kind of fits in with the meta for this dude. You know, you're going to want to get continuous heals off. You probably even want to do, like, Wither the Crown and explode them just to get the big, massive turn meter. Like, I kind of want to try that little that combo. I kind of wish I had Wither. I don't. I tried to pull forward, just, you know, not lucky. So, again, going back to that, when do I get a champion that I actually want, and how do I get them if I want them? It's going to be you know, something we got to change going forward, I think. We need some change there. Do I like Operating Clanfather? I do, but just not for everybody. And would I build him if I was like a brand new account and I had limited access to books and stuff? No, I probably wouldn't. At least not for Faction Wars. And if it was between him and Still the Drakes, oof, man. Oof. I don't know. That's a tough one. For the arena, I mean, you see Still everywhere. She's a badass. So you do see her for good reason. Operating Clanfather could be kind of cool. It just kind of depends, I guess, on what your champion collection looks like, who you got to go with them. So let's move on to Hole's Ring here. We have a legendary magic champ, attack, Sacred Order. Okay, Rampit. Now, this guy is a Hex champion. Let's go over that real quick. I do like the Hex champions. I know a lot of people are not big fans of the Hex. I think that Hex has a lot of promise. I think they just need to add more Hex champions to the game, obviously, and start getting it going because some of these guys, you know, in my opinion, they, like this guy, for example, not a big fan. Actually, the way he looks is amazing, but the Hex and the way it applies and all that stuff, you know, I mean, it's whatever, you know what I'm saying? Now, Ruled Huntsmaster, for example, was a really well thought out way of using Hex, in my opinion, and I want to see more champions like that in the future. So I do like Hex. I just don't like how all of them are implemented, but we do need more of them in the future, and as we get more, I think it's going to be a pretty fun, you know, debuff to work with. So Rampant Blows, attacks 2 times at random, places a 50% increase attack buff in this champion for 2 turns. If this attack is critical, I think the way this guy's going to work is you're going to attack with Witchfinder, the A3. Attacks 4 times at random. Each hit is a 75% chance of placing a Hex debuff for 3 turns. Now it steals turn meter, 25%. Also, it could be 50% if it's a Bannerlord or Knight's Revenant. This is a 100% chance as well, by the way. So it kind of feels like if you hit, like it's random, obviously, so it could go, you know, this way or that way. It could go right way, it could go wrong way. If it goes right, you're going to get an extra turn. You go from Witchfinder with the A3 to Overthrow the A2, attacks 3 times at random, will ignore 25% of defense against targets under Hex debuffs, will ignore a further 25% of defense against targets under Hex debuffs in the Bannerlord and Knight's Revenant factions. You know, I kind of like that stuff again. It's kind of like would see more application in the game to use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when do we get a whole team of Bannerlords or Knights Revenant to fight against? Like, I would prefer to see more of that kind of stuff happening. So I think you go from the A3 to the A2, and if you put them in like a Relentless set, maybe you get around to using the A1, you get the increased attack. I want to use the increased attack, I don't think, the A1 first, and then go into the A3 or the A2, unless you had like Relentless set on them or something. So we have Hunter's Guile, the passive. If this champion attacks 2 targets under Hex debuffs during the same turn, places a perfect veiled buff on this champion for 1 turn, will not count counterattacks, increases critical damage by 30% while attacking under a perfect veiled buff. So it kind of feels like you're going to get the perfect veil with Witchfinder either way, and then you're going to end up with this perfect veil buff with the additional 30% extra crit damage. So he seems like, you know, you got to see the multipliers. Like he could be a pretty hard hitter, but he's so random. It's like so RNG that like, I don't know if you can really count it. Kind of seems like a champion you'd use for the arena. So not sure I'm the biggest fan of him. You know, if I guess, let's go back to these legendaries real quick. If I pulled Donic Skullreap, I think I would actually be excited for him. He seems kind of cool, but he doesn't have that many applications for me on my account, I don't think, in the game. And I don't think I'd have too much use for him. But I would be excited about him. He seems kind of cool. Jingwan, I'd be pissed. If I got this guy, I'd probably be wanting a Siphi, a Krisk, a Hegemon. I don't think I'd be too happy about it. Moving on to Opposite Clan Father, if I actually pulled him from a shard, probably don't want to pull him from a shard, to be honest. That's where he's at. I mean, I'm getting him from the fragment, so considering he's guaranteed, I don't want a second one, and I don't want to get fragment-type summons, I guess, from shards. I would prefer to get unique characters, unless I wanted a duplicate, a copy. With him, not so sure I do. Holes Ring. Oh, you know what? I don't know. He could kind of like pair pretty well with himself, I guess. I don't know. I don't think so. Holes Ring. I would not be excited if I got Holes Ring. I'd probably be pretty bummed about it. You know, I'd want my Rotos. Moving on to the epics. Kenochi, a epic force defense Shadowkin. Now this character right here may be the best of the whole bunch. This one looks like your budget Kyoku. So if you don't have a Kyoku on your team, you don't have a Kyoku on your account, obviously I'd be very lucky to get one. Kenochi seems like she's going to be the one that you're going to need to get through Faction War Stage 21. She's going to be amazing for this. So she's basically like a budget Kyoku. Sever Muscle, attacks one enemy, has weaken on A1, attacks all enemies. This is where she differs from Kyoku. AoE Leech on the A2, which I do like. I like the AoE Leech. You know, people did not like Vlad, and maybe probably because he's a Void, but me, I love the dude. To be honest, I really love the AoE Leech, especially on someone who can hit hard. So Interpose A3 places ally protection buff on all allies except his champion for 2 turns, fills his champion's turn meter by 50%. Okay, so we're getting back around to another turn here. Blooded Grit passive. Now this is where she's like Kyoku, but really a budget version, because Kyoku places ally protection and block damage buff on herself for 3 turns in the same ability. Now she's gonna have to get hit, drop underneath 50% HP, then trigger the block damage buff, which I don't know, you know, that's on a 5-turn cooldown. I mean, you're going to have to keep her alive from dying, you know what I'm saying, on that dropping underneath 50% HP, probably. So, block damage, like, let's say you had an unkillable, like Swift Parry set on her. You got unkillable, so you don't die, and then block damage goes up for 1 turn. Like, what's it doing that unkillable's not doing? You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to build her with some pretty high defense, probably, be able to mitigate some damage so you don't take a 1-shot to get that block damage buff to go off. But after that, I mean, she's going to be golden, man. This one's looking like a top-notch epic right here. You got A1 Weaken, A2 AoE Leech, A3 Ally Protection, and then fill turn meter a little bit. And then the passive is a block damage buff when taking too much damage. Pretty nice kit. She's going to be pretty nice for the Faction Wars. Old Gruckus. Man, this guy's face right here, he kind of reminds me of like one of them old clowns, like a sad clown from like the circus. He's epic force support Ogren Tribe champion. Beating Staff A1 has 3 attacks, places Leech, toe the line A2, attack 1 enemy, decrease speed, and then also decreases turn meter. Harsh Discipline A3, attacks all enemies, has an 80% chance, 100% chance when booked of decrease attack debuff, and 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. So basically, this is kind of like what I would say Plarium pushes on us for Faction Wars. This guy is going to be an amazing Faction War champion. He has the AoE decrease attack. He's got the Leech. He's got the decreased speed. So he's going to be great for wave control, you know what I'm saying? Getting through waves. The aura is increases ally speed in dungeons by 24%. So obviously, Fire Knight, he could be a Fire Knight lead for you with the A3. I mean, sorry, the A1 with the 3-hitter. Pretty nice. You know, I like this guy. He's not too terrible. He's not bad. Lady Quillen here. Epic Force Attack Bannerlord. Okay, Mistress of Mallets. Attacks 1 enemy. Fills his champion's turn meter by 15% of this attack is critical. Okay, I kind of feel like this one right here is an arena champion. This is going to be your buffer that goes before your big hitters. First to fight, let's talk about the A3. Ascended attack has attacks all enemies and a 30% increase crit damage buff on all allies. So she's a buffer, you know what I'm saying? She's going to attack the enemy and then buff your team, and then like Trenda's going to come smack them to death. Also places a 50% increase attack buff on all allies for 2 turns if this attack is critical. So then Glory Hound A2 attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if this attack is critical, fills the turn meter of all allies by 30% if this attack kills an enemy, which is pretty cool. I think we had a champion that came out before the last fusion. I think it might have been a rare. Basically where you got a turn meter filled if you didn't kill the enemy. I kind of like killing the guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't want a turn meter fill by not killing somebody. I want to knock them out, get a turn meter fill. That's the way to go right there. Glory Hound, Lady Quillen. Seems like a pretty cool epic. I'm not sure exactly, if I'd use her, if I'd want to use her, if I got her. I think I got better champions at the moment. But if you don't have a better, person that does something like what she's doing here, seems like an amazing buffer for like the arena. And we got Arndulf, last but not least here. Epic Magic Defense Bannerlord. Okay, now this guy has a very interesting kit. There's not very many characters in the game that have an AoE weaken, which has a fear on it as well, or at least the potential for a fear, 50%. And then they have an AoE reflect damage buff as well for all allies. And that's paired with a counterattack. So there's very few champions in the game. Let's talk about Angar, Seneschal, which is from the same faction, by the way, that have this AoE reflect damage and some kind of a counterattack. The provoke is only on one enemy, single target. Maybe you can stick them in like a provoke set. So you get the provoke you got from the A2, and then the reflect damage and counterattack are going off, and then keeping the provoke on. He's kind of like a budget Angar in some ways. You know what I'm saying? Because Angar, when he gets attacked, will reapply the provoke. This guy is going to get attacked, counterattack, and then reapply the provoke off the A1. So it's only a 30% chance. Angar gets up to like the 50%, but maybe you can do the 30, get Sniper, get the 35% chance on there. Maybe it's not Sniper, it's the other one from the defense tree, but get the extra 5% to land the provoke, and 35% is at least a third, So that's not bad. That's not bad for an epic. This guy could be pretty cool. Now, I think I could actually do something with this guy. So I'd have to like play with him. I'd have to try him out, but this guy could be your arena go second team. So let's go over these guys. Would I be excited if I got Kenochi? Hell yeah. Especially if I didn't have Koku. I'd probably be like going through the roof. I'd be like throwing a party. Woo! Going nuts. Lover. Old Gruckus. For me, I already have the Ogren tribes already maxed out. I already got a really good Fire Knight team. I wouldn't need him, but if I did need him, I'd be excited about him. For sure. Lady Quillen, Arena Buffer. Again, I got better champions already in this, but that's what epics are for, right? Like, you're supposed to have legendary options that are better than the epics, right? So this champion right here, if you need her, could be pretty good. These are actually pretty good epics, Arndulf. Man, this one would be the one that I want to play with, test him out. Could be horrible, but also could be really, really special. Guy could actually be like a go second team meta for some people in some ways. So that's it for today. That's it for the video. We got 8 brand new champions. I'm hoping we get a way to kind of like get a better, I love the guaranteed champions, but I don't feel like it's enough. I don't like the way the 2 times, and I don't like the 10 times chance the way they go. I also do not like the expensiveness, basically the cost price structure of building champions. So it's too expensive to build champions, it's too hard to get champions, and there's too many champions at the moment to get. So it's making it very hard to get the ones you actually need. So we need some changes in the future. 2022 should be the year of the change when it comes to these systems. But as far as these champions go, love the epics, don't love the legendaries. That's kind of how it's looking at the moment. Anyways, hope you guys had a great time. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you guys like this one, please like, comment, and subscribe. You guys have a great day. Peace.